Welcome to Wagons West on Thursday, April the 25th, and tonight we are asking the very important question.
Do you like dags? Dags. What?
Yeah, dags.
Dags. You like dags? Sure. I like dags.
We have tonight Mr. Jeremy Mackenzie of Diagolon. Jeremy, welcome to the podcast, sir.
Yeah, you gotta be careful going into vans and campers. Anything with doors like that, people could scribble something on it, and then years later, someone could stand next to it, and you're a national news story because you're a hysterical, lunatic in Canada. So
that's a very good point. You have to be careful of that. That is, in the last couple of years through the COVID hysteria, that was kind of one of the trends, right? With the campers or trucks or whatever, people would sign their signatures on the doors or the windows or whatever, and just commonplace. But yeah. I guess if someone was sitting in the seat or occupied the space maybe 100 years ago, that must make me a racist now for sitting in the same chair, I guess.
Yeah, well, you're breathing the racist air of your ancestors, so there's no way around it now. Yeah.
Well, Jeremy, I just got to tell you, I'll let you introduce yourself for anybody that is watching that doesn't know who you are at this point. But I got turned on to you a long time ago when you were still going by Raging Humanist. And,
wow, well, you're that old. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was actually a friend, Charlotte Finn, posted it, and I was like, this guy sounds like he's making sense. And it was one of those kind of like field walks. You're going on a walk and just ranting in the phone. And then I heard your tidbit, your soundbite there when you were talking about Omar Khadr. And actually funny, no, it's not a funny story, haha, but just funny, interesting is that spent some time in Ontario going through the family court system, and our family lawyer's husband was on the legal team for Omar Khadr, and Omar Khadr actually stayed at his house in Toronto, which I found out after the fact. So there's a little 6 degrees of separation for you.
Jeez, yeah. Well, he's got his millions of dollars. He's doing fine. He's being taken care of.
Yeah.
Not like par for the course in this country.
For sure.
I used to do those. Yeah, I was in Saskatchewan. I was living out there for a couple of years.
That's right.
I used to do that. Just it's endless. You walk forever. There's miles and miles of dusty roads to go down, and I liked it. I like it out there. I like the Western Canada.
We driving across from Ontario to Alberta. We made to take a stop and take a picture at each of the provincial signs. And Saskatchewan, I thought, had brilliant branding. It was Land of the Living Skies. I was like, yeah, that's right. Because what else do you have?
It's totally, it's so, you have to be out there to see it. It's probably similar in Alberta and Manitoba, but just it's so big compared to, because it's so flat and you can see so much of it. There's so much, but yeah, it's especially far up north. I was near Saskatoon, so that's like pretty far north in Canada. I think Edmonton's a little further north, but.
Oh. Don't know if that's my Wi-Fi or maybe yours. But we are frozen. All right, guys. The CSIS is doing their work here. We are frozen. Oh, there we go. You're back. You're back.
Yeah, my internet decided. Sometimes it does this. It's got like competing networks and tries to. Anyway, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hopefully
no worries. No worries.
Yeah. What was I saying? Something.
We're talking about Saskatchewan. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, it's beautiful out there. I love it, especially in the summertime, the spring, summertime, when you when you get out of that. The no man's land of that ride from Ontario through Ontario past Thunder Bay, and, and it just kind of it just opens right up, and it's all so green and yellow, all the canola fields and all, and it's just it's beautiful out there. It's so different, and it's I liked it out there a lot. I love the country. There's so much that we have here. It's incredible. It could be a dump, but it's pretty special.
Yeah, man. We came up here. It was we're in northern Alberta now, up in Valley View, and right now sunsets at about 9 o'clock, and so it gets to be in the summer where it's like midnight or 1 o'clock. It's exactly. It just kind of dips below the surface. Yeah,
really?
yeah.
That late? You're real far up north. Eh?
Yeah. So it'll be. I mean, it's technically dark. Like the sun will go below the surface, like below the horizon, at maybe 10 or 11. But then it's still kind of a light sky. It's never actually perfectly dark.
Yeah, I was surprised how much just in Saskatoon, and then look at a map, like it's pretty a lot further north than where I'm used to living, like basically along the U.S. border, basically.
Yeah.
It would get dark in the summertime at like 11 o'clock at night, and then the sun is up at 4 in the morning. It's like 5 in the morning. I was like, it's daylight already. Like the nights were quick, and then in the wintertime, it's just dark till. The sun doesn't come up till 10 in the morning or something, and it's up till 6, and then it's back down again, or it's short amounts of daylight. But yeah, it's interesting. I liked it.
What's it like over in Nova Scotia? My dad's from Peggy's Cove. I've never actually visited,
Oh, yeah.
but it's on the list, you know.
Yeah, it's just a big pile of rocks. I mean, I don't, I don't know. I've been there. It's a lot of tourists and stuff, and there's a sign about every 15 feet telling people not to climb on the rocks because you'll die, and they do it anyway. But, because so many people can't read the signs, but you get rogue waves, carry them away, mostly like Japanese tourists or something. I don't think it's happened in a few years.
When I was over in Ireland, I went 2012, 2013, and 2017. They have the Cliffs of Moher and stuff like that, and you have all the edges, the cliffs, like you'd fall off the edge right into a lake.
Oh, yeah.
And there's just no fences, there's no signs. It's just like at your own peril.
Yeah. Use common sense. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Why isn't there a fence? Does there need to be? You're familiar with gravity? Yeah. No.
It's a self-correcting problem here.
Yeah. Good old Ireland. I'd love to visit that place. It looks cool there.
It's so beautiful.
That might be one of the only countries I'm still allowed to visit because I'm banned from so many. Anything involved in the Five Eyes intelligence network, so all of those not going to happen. But Ireland isn't in that network, so I might be able to. Yeah,
yeah, and maybe soon. You know, who knows? There's in countries everywhere you have kind of the populist movements, ethno-nationalist, populist, whatever you want to call it, are rising. So we'll see in the next decade how things turn out.
Yeah, well, they're setting fire to refugee centers or refugees. See, I'm using their words, which I don't like to. They're stuffing people into Irish properties and buildings, and just to at the opposite of the wishes of the people of Ireland. So they're just burning them down. They say, if you put them in here, we will burn it down, and they are, which is true to their word.
That's right.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, you gotta love the Irish. It's
yeah.
With Irish heritage, you a little bit of history with the IRA and the old school, old school tactics that they had, and it's just, it's a shame that it's gone the way it has. But hopefully they'll kind of return to their former glory.
Yeah, it's surprising. Yeah, and that whole party that they have there is that the IRA ended up is full blown globo homo mass migrate. Just crazy. You fought a war against the British because Ireland is for the Irish and not the British, and then you let in Nigeria. So that's okay. That's a weird twisted turn of events. But Ireland has had a huge part in building this country too. There's some of a huge chunk of the founding peoples of this country were from Ireland and Scotland, France, and England. So. Yeah, there's a lot of, I think probably most of us in this country have some relatives or somewhere to Irish, relations, and we celebrate St. Patrick's Day and all of that. So
when I was episode 2, I think of the show, we had a gentleman from Ireland on, a buddy of mine, Dave, and he was saying that both parties, the government and then the opposition party, actually, like we talk about the uniparty here, but they actually formed like a legitimate single party. Jeez. So they are one party. He said governments don't happen unless the government calls for it, and so that leads to the rise of what's happening now.
Wow.
So yeah, crazy stuff going on over there, man. They charge you a TV tax. Did you know that?
A tax to watch television?
A tax if you have a screen in your house.
Oh, and how do they check that? Does somebody come by and take a look through the windows to see if there's screens in there? You got to be kidding.
They go door to door.
And people do this job. Like, I want to do that job, and nobody beats the shit out of them every day. Like in Ireland, really? Same country Conor McGregor's from, are you sure?
So as I said, I got turned on to you way back in the day, but I really started watching you during the COVID hysteria because I was working an overnight shift job, and it was mostly just watching a CCTV camera for anything, and so I'd have you on, and because I'm sitting here for 12 hours, I can take 3 of it and watch you 3 times a week, so I got to know you pretty well.
I've radicalized a lot of shift workers, I think. Truck drivers, forklift operators, snowplow guys, all of those people are just, they got nothing but time, so they have to sit there,
But I really appreciated what you had to say, and what really hit me was when you began the Find Your Friends initiative, because I was like, this is crazy stuff going on. I didn't know really what was coming down the pipes, and I just thought that was a really smart thing to do, and so it began, right? And so that's how I kind of got plugged into the community. But so just not to kiss your ass or anything, but thank you for doing that. Thank you for putting out the initiative, and the people that you have around you and in this community are A1, really are.
Yeah, they are great, and it's just I just did what I was taught to do by my parents and my family, and in the Army especially, where it was like, if you see something that needs to be done, do it. Don't wait for somebody to tell you. Don't wait for somebody's permission to like fix a problem. And you're seeing people we had a little collective show up in Saskatchewan, or when I was still living out there. Probably 40 or so, 50 people came from across the country to this, kind of basically a little party. They brought camper vans and all kinds of stuff, and some of them brought family members with them, and they're all strangers except for knowing each other from the internet, basically. So that could go any number of ways. It's kind of risky, like bunch of. And it was great, and especially they're drinking and stuff. And no, it was excellent. It was a great time, and people were like in tears. They were so happy just to be around like-minded people that understand. Like they all have similar stories. Like, my family hates me now, and I'm going to lose my job, and they're like, me too. And it's like, that sucks, but it's not just me now. So then, and they're all still, a lot of them, most of them are all still friends and stuff. So it was just, this is normal. You need to have a peer group, and there's no reason you can't. This is crazy. No, you're not allowed to. You're insane. Okay. I'm not going to sit here and obey. Another thing they teach you in the military too is to, you have to follow your orders and this kind of stuff, unless they're illegal or unethical or immoral or insane. And then you have an obligation as a Canadian soldier to not do that, because that's not who we are. Yeah. So I tried to follow through with that, and whatever they do, they do. And they're not too happy with me. They haven't, I'm not very popular with the police or the government or the media or anybody powerful, really, but I don't care.
I got, unfortunately, I have a lot of ink on my body, but I got it's not to you, but I got these, can you see? Can you show there? This side up arrow. Yeah, it's this side up arrow. And so your fuck you make me. I was like, yeah, that's, that resonates with me.
Yeah. That was crazy when guys started getting that tattoo. Yeah, they were getting. I think Ferryman was one of them. He had it like tattooed on his knuckles, and there was a guy in Texas that did too, and crazy. I was like, that's nuts. But as the years have gone on, it's definitely, you don't know where. Like, it seems silly at the time, but it's been 5 years or more. A lot of the same core group of the community. It's only gotten bigger. So it's I mean, it could be 20 years from now, and when people will still be. I have no intention of going anywhere. So. I mean, that's pretty cool. You have basically a kind of a community of people that was forged in a time of crisis and trauma. Really, a lot of people were suffering badly, and we all stuck through it together and picked each other up and drugged each other along or pushed each other, whatever we had to do. But I'm pretty proud of everybody.
It reminded me. I was just thinking today about Gavin McInnes. He started the Proud Boys, right? And it was kind of started as a joke. And then it all of a sudden came into now it's a domestic terrorist organization, apparently. Yeah. So we're in good company.
funny that keeps happening, right? Yeah. He was the only guy to actually give me an interview and talk to me after the protest I did for the Omar Khadr thing there in Halifax. It was just him. It was, I think, the video. This guy took Peter McIsaac, videotaped it and recorded it, put it on the internet, went on Twitter. It had few million views on Twitter in a day. It had like 6 million, and that's it. There was nobody wanted anything to do with it. That was when I first started to realize like something's not right here. Yeah. Like I was totally oblivious to the depths of the ideological struggle happening and what the kind of silent war going on that no one's really, I mean, not no one, but at that time I was oblivious to it until it's like walking down the street and somebody just hits you in the face and you don't even understand why. Yeah. It's like, because you're wearing that hat and you're like, what's wrong with my hat? Like, all those people hate you. Like, they do? Why? Like, oh, well, they're communists. Like, what is that? And this whole thing began, and it's like, I'm a soldier. Like, that's who I am. I'm a fighter. That's what I'm, that's just part of my DNA, I guess. And you don't pick fights with guys like that because they like to fight. That's their whole. I'm wandering around my life bored, like, drinking rum and playing video games. Like, I'm depressed, and then the anti-hate network starts attacking me. So I'm like, oh, fighting. I know how to do that. That's good. I can do this. That's and then we're I don't know how many years later, and it's as you can see, it's gotten quite. We should thank them for that. Thank you.
That's right. That's right.
Evan and Kurt, for all of your support and encouragement. None of this would have happened without them, and they're genius. So,
let's say you can judge a man by his enemies, right?
Yeah, that's some good ones. Yeah. Pedophiles, freaks, murderers, thieves. Yeah, so I'm good. We're in good company, I think.
Yeah, man. So there might be some of my audience that don't know who you are. Most of them do, but can you give us a little rundown of basically the history of Jeremy Mackenzie and how you, I guess, the history of Jeremy Mackenzie into the beginning of Diagolon?
Whew. What do you want to know? Let's see. Well, I was from Pictou County, Nova Scotia, originally, the town itself, actually. The same place that Sean Fraser's from, the immigration minister. He was in the news trash talking us the other day. And yeah, I joined the military pretty much right out of high school. I was still in high school, and I joined the reserves in grade 12 or something, which is insane to me to look back on, to let that happen. But plus my parents, they've always been supportive of everything I've wanted to do, and I was 17 years old, and we were at war at the time and everything. So, yeah, I joined the Army Reserves when I was 16 or 17, and then I was eventually transitioned to the regular force, and I was in there until 2017, so about almost a little under 15 years, 2003 to 17. I've been around, I don't know, Europe, the Middle East, a little bit the Caribbean, South Pacific, and United States and Canada. So my career took me quite a few interesting, cool places I never would have gotten to see otherwise, and places I wouldn't have been able to see regardless. Like, not resorts, you get to see the real countryside of some of these places that are, dangerous and crazy, and so you get to see what really goes on outside the safe zones of resorts and airports and stuff like this. So that was my formative years as an adult. So 17 to however long, I was 30, early 30s when I got into the Army, I think. So, I got out in 2017 and got bored, and I remember my mother told me years and years and years ago, she's like, you should do something creative. Like, that's who you are. You like to, So I got interested in, I started watching people on YouTube, and I was watching people like Owen Benjamin. He was straight with his laptop streaming to 5,000 people with just his laptop in his backyard. And I thought that was crazy. That's cool. I mean, I would like to, if I can entertain people or impart something or say something. I'm not going to go downtown and hold a sign and just scream on the sidewalk like they used to. That's, it doesn't work so well. Or I could just do this. And I just wanted to make some YouTube videos and maybe get my own little, niche kind of corner in the internet to just, have as a hobby. And part of my, it's actually been very instrumental in my mental health recovery coming out of the military and processing a lot of that stuff and it's been key for that. Apparently it's criminal according to our enemies. You're not allowed to talk and have opinions or think or anything, but it's certainly helped me quite a bit. And I started doing that then, and it just one thing led to the other. I started making videos and just screwing around and being fun. I was like cutting the heads off Barbie dolls and doing crazy, silly videos and playing with toys, and they were being melted in microwaves and doing crazy stuff. Just being sarcastic and like being tongue in cheek, poking at the world, right? And they didn't like it, and then they started throwing eggs at me, and so I didn't like that either. So we've gone back and forth, and it's just been a crazy ride ever since. Really, I can't believe it's only been 5 or 6 or 7. It feels like a lot longer. It's a lifetime ago.
Man, bringing it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, geez, it's got some comments in here. We got and I'm sure, like you see here, now refuse any COVID nonsense, right? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure you've opened a lot of people's eyes, a lot of people to what's going on. Like, basically, for like I talked about that night shift where I was watching your streams, you were essentially my news source, because where can you get all the other where could you get all the other, where did you get all those news, at least aggregated in one spot, and so yeah,
there was some cool, I just kind of, because I'm big on, I need to know what's going on. Like, I'm big on intelligence, like in the military. Like, we're very, big on recon and intelligence. Like, we need to know as close to as reality as possible what the actual situation is. You don't lie and make up, because that gets people killed, right? And you end up in a war you're fighting that doesn't even make any sense because you didn't get the right information, and that doesn't sit well with you. So I tried to find places that I were consistently matching with what I was seeing in reality. Like, they're saying this will happen, and then like that's exactly what happened, or they're saying this is what's going on. I'm like, that does appear to be what's happened. So Zero Hedge was a big one. I was into finance and stuff at the time. I was really studying that and kind of following the stock market. I was doing some, trading myself and commodities and stuff, and just trying to find different ways to get like we all are, right? Like, how do I survive? Yeah. Can I do this? Maybe I can do that. I've tried to do a lot of different things before I ended up doing this, and that was one of them. I spent quite a while doing that. I had no formal education. I'm just reading, online and reading people's, blogs and downloading, manual and just trying to figure it out and the lingo and the jargon, watching this and talking to that guy. But the thing about the financial blog, the Zero Hedge especially, is because it needs to be because this is what people are reading to decide what to do with their money. And it's not about woke politics. It's like what's happening, what's going on for real, because it's people don't like to lose their money. So, and everything that affects the markets is going to be on that website. And a lot of it is geopolitics, cultural, but like anything that's going to be of note is part of that. So that was a key, find, and that just led to another other places. But yeah, I've always been interested in just knowing kind of what's going on. Because I don't like to feel like I'm walking around blind and oblivious to things. So. Yeah, I'm not really a news guy. I never tried to. People are like, you're like the news. I'm not. I'm just a guy that's pissed about these things or has opinions. But I'm not trying to be the news or anything. But yeah. Well,
it's nice when when someone feels so isolated that to hear somebody else saying out loud the things that they may think and feel. It's just really reassuring and strengthening.
Yeah, I think. Because I'm just comparing myself, because we're always growing and changing, and to sound gay or whatever, but people are evolving. And I remember when I was insecure and young and I didn't know anything, and I would feel strongly or have an idea of sense like, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I'd look around and nobody else is saying anything and I don't have the confidence. So I'm just like, fucking, I guess this is what we're doing. And I'm just doing the opposite, where I'm like, no, this is crazy, or that's nonsense. Like, you're not pushing me around. Like, I got bullied in my life and it doesn't happen anymore. Like, none of this stuff. So when I came down and just started, giving it to people over this or that, that's the voice in the room that's providing the reassurance. Like, no, you're not insane. Like, other people have noticed, and I'm trying to articulate these, and people are, they're like, I feel the same way. I see the same thing that you do. So it was also helpful to me because I was half at the time kind of rolling the dice, like, I think I'm not insane. I hope not. We'll see how it is received by people, and it worked out. So
Diagland's kind of like a city on a hill in a way, in that it's just to hear the truth, like to be told, and it's like a light. It's just a small light in a dark world. And so really appreciate that.
Oh,
yeah, you've done an interview. I spoke with you last week. I'm sorry, I spoke about you last week with you're right, with Donnie Spallbreaker, and you had put it on his show before as well.
Oh yeah.
And we were talking, and he was just saying he's surprised how, just considering everything you've gone through and are continually going through, that you've been able to kind of hold it together and stay so grounded. And I put words in your mouth, and I said, basically, I think you credit probably a lot, not just your relationship with Morgan has been supportive, but also the community that have kept you together. And so it's the community you built has been a kind of a refuge for you. How's that? Can you talk about that a little bit? How that's kind of helped with wading through all this garbage?
Yeah, again, if you have a lot of people supporting you, it's a lot easier to stand on your own 2 feet. Morgan's been huge. I was doing this before she showed up, but it was I couldn't probably put into words how much of an improvement to my life that she's been, and how much she's helped me, and just having the good support of a good woman goes a long way. It's really something that you need to take care of if you're lucky enough to find it. But in the community as well as I never really counted on it. I wasn't I was going to do this regardless wherever it goes. And if people help me, they don't. I'm just going to do what I think what I think is right. And when they came after me and locked me up and did this or did that, the people, my friends and stuff, they started fundraisers for me. I didn't ask. I didn't say anything to anybody. They just already, I'm basically helpless in jail, and they're already, took no time. They were spinning all this stuff up and covered as a good portion of my legal bills and stuff. And it's just that the morale support, people were dropping off food and gifts and stuff to my parents and my family. And it's just like, if there's people that support you, your community's behind you, and that you're they're going to take care of you, it's very easy to continue, versus when you've got nobody and nothing. That's a whole other situation. But you always got to start from somewhere. And when we all start. When I started, it was just me and my house and a cat, my girlfriend's cat, and my son, was like a year old at the time, and that was it. Like, I didn't have and I was still in the military, kind of. I had a blog online first for a little while under a pseudonym, and then I just kind of slowly, crept out of the shadows and then I started uploading videos to YouTube. Well, I was still in the military. They could have got after me, but I was getting angry and I was like, didn't care. And I was on the way out anyway. But Morgan found one recently, actually. And this was like not 10 years ago, but would have been 2014 or 50, maybe almost 10 years ago. And I looked like a child. But my first video was like, we're bringing in 300, and that was at this time, and that was crazy at that time. Almost 300,000 migrants. And that was a huge controversy at the time. Now that's not even a drop in the bucket anymore.
Yeah, no, for real. What, 1,000,000 in 9 months, I think we've gotten, right?
I don't even know. How do you even count that many? Who's counting them? We've got over 1 million that we don't even know where they are or who they are or what's going on. It's just wide open. Like, no one cares. There's nobody in charge anywhere. There's no adults in the building. It's just a free for all. It's like, it's like a bar fight that's completely out of control, and bartender's just chilling. Like, I can't even handle. There's nothing I can do anyway. What do you want me to do? I'm just going to sit here and watch the game while these guys kill each other.
Someone asked me the other day what things Diagolon does in real life, not just online. And the first thing that came to mind that I said is, well, I'll tell you this: if you're in trouble, they'll help you out. And when we moved across, and you're hitting on that too. When we drove across from Ontario. I was trying to connect with the Alberta Dags, and when one of the things I wanted to do coming out here was like learn how to hunt and to grow food and to provide for the family. Yeah. And like most of us at the time, kind of jobless, penniless, and I showed up, and we were going to go have a meetup, and I just put out the word. I said, hey, I would love to learn how to hunt. And this guy shows up at the meeting. He says, I hear someone's looking for meat. And I was like, yeah, I think that's me. She says, come with me. He takes me to his truck and just gave me 2 of these massive bags full of deer meat. He's like, here, that's for you. And
nice.
that is basically what Diagolon has been for me in my life. Just really supportive group. So cheers to you Dags out there. You've been great.
Yeah, they are great. And there's a lot of different things. Like, there's the community support, like the family support, the networking and the peer support and the just the camaraderie of it, but also the Overton window being violently kicked, beaten, and strangled down the road. I mean, we've had averaging 4 major political scandals a year now because of our shenanigans and stuff. The Emergency Act was, entirely. They'll say, no, I've seen the proof. Again, I know what happened, and it was because of my stupid mouth and face and the anti-hate network and all of that. So nearly brought down the federal government, almost nearly killed it, not quite, not yet. Still, and this kind of just little things like, I'm just going to go take a picture with this knucklehead here, and they're going to freak out, and then it's just going to give us a whole other avenue of it, and it works. And it's been just chipping away at this like force field of invincibility that the federal government has. Like, we're the authority and we know everything, and we're just constantly taking pieces out of this and pieces out of that. So people that are like, what do you guys even do? A lot more than you, anonymous nobody who's sitting around complaining all day. Like, I don't have to justify myself to you. Ask them. That's what I'll say now. Like, what do you even do? Ask the community. There's about 50,000 of them. You can ask them what we do in real life. Go ahead. Yeah. More to that. We're it's not ready yet. I haven't made any formal announcements or anything, but I have been making some statements here and there on Telegram and other places. But we are working, not as parallel to. It's not a Diagolon project. It's something that me and some of the other guys are doing outside of that. I mean, there's people that are going to be involved and want to join and help and stuff. But yeah, we're working on organizing a men's organization nationally right now. So when that's ready to go, I'm sure there'll be a whole anti-hate freak out about that. And
if not already, if not already.
Oh, they're already doing. They've got their tweets and their little violins, and they're all very sad. They're all very upset.
Ferry posted something the other day about there's a German nationalist party that is number 2 in popularity in the country. You see that Clan Iran started in Ireland, and the Farmers Party in Holland. Like, there's a lot of these things happening in all the European countries. And what do you see happening here? If you were to predict, what would you say the next 5-10 years in Canada looks like?
Chaotic. It's only going to get crazier. Like, so. And this was part of the thing, like you're saying, you're seeing these groups pop up in Ireland. You've got stuff in different countries, Australia, Italy, Germany, whatever. Political parties or not, or it doesn't really matter. Essentially, what it is, what you need is the cultural gathering point you know, a flag on a hill, kind of to organize people and draw them together in one spot, and then start to build something from that, and then use that to push the cultural conditions and the, you know, like the Overton window again we talked about, to a situation where change is going to happen whether anybody wants it to or not, because there's just too much pressure. There's too much cultural pressure. It's like putting, you know, the air pressure up too much in a tire. Like, it's going to burst. You can't take forever. It can't go forever. You know, these energy systems have to work a certain way, and if everybody just sits around quietly and accepts it, it'll go as far as they want it to go. They'll take everything from you if you don't stop them. But like you saw with the trucker protest, the pressure of the pot boiled over. You've got the Prime Minister on TV talking about putting people in camps and who's acceptable and what do we do with these people and all this kind of stuff. And that's what happened. The stress levels and anxiety levels were so high that it became nearly a revolt in a lot of senses. It was very polite. It was a very Canadian protest where everybody just showed up and was like, "What are you doing, boy? Frig off. Like, we're going to block the streets and make noise." Is right. And, you know, it didn't achieve the total victory that everybody wanted, but it had a huge, an international effect, and definitely stopped dead in its tracks kind of the global kind of lockstep implementation of this prison that they're, you know, bringing down on top of everybody. And they had to back right off of that. And the passports went away because of that. Like, a lot of things happened because of that. They'll never admit that. And that's what people want to pretend like it was a failure. Like, no, man, it was a huge victory. All those things were coming, and where are they now? They're all gone. And it's because of that. Because they know they had to back off because there was so much pressure. Like, you're asking for it now at this point. You've pushed people way too far. And this, you know, the secondary win there is, you know, people like yourself. So many people that I didn't know. You have different pockets of groups of people, and, you know, maybe 2s and 3s or 20 or whatever. Like, we went with our crew of people. I saw what was happening with the truckers and stuff, and I was like, let's go do it. I put out a video just really pumping the tires into it, and they thought it was my idea for some reason, because the videos had a lot of views, and I was like, I'm just watching this like anybody else. This has nothing to do with me. I didn't invent this, right? But we go there with our, you know, crew of people and all of our friends and so on, and we meet all kinds of other people down there that are, you know, of a similar background or mindset, and now we know each other, and now we have access to each other's contacts and networks and friends, and everything just starts to tighten up. You know, and some people don't work out. You got to weed the garden here and there, but it goes from 1 to 2 to 10 to 1,000 to, you know. And basically all the people that care, anybody that was going to show up and at least put their hat into the ring to say, I'm at least not going to sit here and do nothing. We all know who each other are now for the most part. And conversely, the third big win of this, and maybe even more, and most importantly of all, we know who's not going to show up for anybody. And that's the entire political establishment. That's all of your mayors, your politicians. They didn't start this protest. They didn't go down there and freeze their ass off in trucks for weeks on end. They didn't stand there and get rifled in the, you know, batoned in the head and trampled by horses. They're inside hiding in their, you know, warm and watching it on TV and getting paid $250,000 to call you a terrorist. So, you know, that can never be undone. They can never make up for that. They can never go back. Like, the time came and went. It's like you had your free throw at the buzzer and you missed it. It's over. You lost. Okay, the people won and you lost, and you'll never get our respect or credibility back ever. It can't happen unless there's another crisis and you decide, and then you suddenly decide all of a sudden you're a selfless patriot, and then you're just going to break even, because you're still going to be, well, but there was still the other time. We can never trust these people again, and they want all of our money and support, but they won't sacrifice anything. The best you'll find is, I think, Maxime Bernier went to jail for 20 minutes. You know, that's the extent of the pain that our so-called leaders are willing to endure for our behalf, which is laughable. I like to tell a story on my show sometimes that whenever it comes up, we're reminded of it. When I was in, you know, basic training, like I said, on my infantry course, I think I was like 17, 18, and I had a warrant officer, his name is Jim. And one of the things you train at your practice as an infantry soldier is you're going to have obstacles on the battlefield to deal with. And one of them is like razor wire, which is what it sounds like. It's wire in circles with razor blades on it. And there's 2 of them stacked on top of each other, about 2.5 feet high. It's enough that it's like chest high. So you've got 2 of them on top of each other. And it's like, well, how do you get around this? If you're coming up in an enemy position, there's people shooting at you. Like, what do we do? This is what you do. And he throws himself onto it like a human bridge. And then he's like, now you guys run across my back and use me like a bridge to get across the wire, and then you know, and he was covered. He had to get stitches. He was all bleeding. But that was just in training to a bunch of kids just to make a point. And I was like, okay, this guy's ready to bleed for us just to teach us something. That's crazy. That's, I was impressed with that. That made a huge impression on me going forward for the rest of my life. And other NCOs I would meet would have the similar kind of attitudes. Like, I'm not going to make you do something I won't do myself. If anybody's going to bleed, it's going to be me first because I'm in charge, and that's what's expected, right? That's what your dad does. That's what the father figure. That's what the king does. That's whoever that guy is. He's like, you're following me. This is my mission, right? It's not for you to do and me to profit from in the rear. I'm doing it because I'm doing it, and if you're coming with me, that's great. But so yeah, that mentality's always stayed with me because it's the right mentality. If it works in war, it works in life because there's no lies in war. There's no, you can't, virtue signal your way around, a sucking chest wound, and you can't wave a pride flag around getting bombed or, there's no feelings Olympics or anything. It's just what's real, what's not real, what happens, what doesn't happen, what works and what doesn't work. So in that environment, hardcore reality, what works is lead by example, lead from the front. And that's what I took to heart for the rest of my life. And that is not what I see anywhere in this country, anywhere, provincially, federally, nowhere, not one.
I know, I'll take my lashes for this, but I'm going to stand up for one, but only one. And that's Todd Lowen. The reason being, and I coming from Ontario to Alberta, I didn't know who he was. But I heard his name of the convoy. And so what had happened is he was just kind of a backbencher MLA in Alberta, the Alberta legislature. And because of the COVID response, he said to Kenny that, he penned a letter that said he needs to resign, and he was kicked out of the caucus for that.
Yeah.
He was also, they were in the legislature for one of the question periods. And then after that, he and his wife actually drove from Alberta in a straight shot down to catch up with the convoy, and actually was in Ottawa. And came back, and then came to run for the leadership of the UCP here to become the premier of Alberta. And I thought, okay, this guy has some nuts. He he lost his job, he lost his position, he's got mocked to get it, and he didn't win. But
well, people win.
There's him and there's Drew Barnes too. So there's two that stood up.
Yeah. There's a few, but I mean, like right now, I mean, like today, right now, there's 338 people in Parliament, and all of them are content. There's how many? What's the I was saying on my show the other night. Like Pierre loves to talk about numbers. How much did you spend? How much? What's the number? How many people have died from unspecified causes in the last 5 years? How many? How many? How many? None of them care. They're all pro-war now. They're all pro-genocide now. They're all pro-censorship now. They're all like, no, none of you people have an excuse. Our citizens are dying because of your inaction every day. You are causing their deaths, and you have the power to say something anytime you want. You're a member of Parliament. You could stand out there in a press gallery and say, everybody come here, I have something to say. And none of them do it. They get paid. They're all millionaires, and none of them do it, so I have no time for any of them. But there were other people. There was people like Derek Sloan and Randy Hillier and other guys that tried to say, and they got punted and got booted. And I respect them for that. That's okay. They're doing their best, and I don't expect them to win. I just expect them to try. And some very small amounts of people did try, not nearly enough. And then they would laugh at them. They would kick them out of. I remember they ridiculed poor Randy. He's like, why? When you go to buysell.ca, it's a government subcontracting website where you can bid on jobs for the federal government or fulfillment contracts or supply this, that, whatever. And one of them was for building internment camps across the country. And I went and looked at it, and it was there. It was a real contract, and he was like, "What is this?" And then they just laughed at him and kicked him out of the party. I'm like,
I think they're doing one in North Battleford, Saskatchewan. I think we're supposed to have one.
Portage La Prairie was going to get one. They nailed down a couple, but I don't think I don't know if the scandal, I don't know what happened there. But the fact that this even got tendered where someone was like, maybe we should build camps, and it got that far, I mean, that's insane.
The whole thing, ironically, it's easy to take the black pill, really easy to take the black pill because you can see how dark it is around you. But this whole thing served as a white pill because like you said, when the convoy happened, when all this happened and everyone had woken up and said enough, they had to back off. And so when I think of what's coming next, I think, okay, well, if we made them back off before, we can do it again. And that's the one thing that I hold on to because, it's everywhere you look, it's not nice things.
It's a black and white pill is what you want.
Yeah, that's right. The mix.
They don't, they think it's a black pill. They give us this stuff. Like they think we're anarchists or this or like, I've never said anything like, I don't even think it's a black pill. It's just reality. And the reality is there's no political solution to this. You can't vote. You know, there's no way you can vote this. This is decades and decades and decades of rotten corruption. You're talking stage 4 cancer at this point. And you're like, oh, I'll just take some multivitamins. And you're not going to go check a box and everything's going to be fine. It's a systemic problem. It's the political class of people, the spirit and the kind of people that do this job are reprehensible and the absolute opposite of the kind of people that should be doing it. And they've already proven they can't do it. So you accept that and go, okay, well, then how do we fix that? How do we start pushing? Like that's the pill you take, not the, well, I want someone else to do it. I'm just going to check a box and keep watching the Leafs game. And that's lazy. That's lazy. And you see people, a lot of them, I'm going to name names. So I have been, but I mean, I don't care right now. But they're fleeing to a lot of them go to the United States or they go to other southern countries where it's cheaper. And these are people that, spent the last 3 or 4 years grifting off of their fake patriotism for, Canada. That was just a gig for them. It was just something to do. And you're going to go down to the United States where, well, they have all these rights. You know why? Because they fought for them. And people in the United States, Americans died for that to be a thing that they have. We didn't earn that in Canada. And rather than you sit here and fight for our own freedom here, you'd rather go co-opt it from some other people who have already earned it themselves. Like you're just going to skip to the front of the line. And I'm sure you'll be really well received. Like, oh, look, another Canadian who's too much of a chicken shit to fight for his own people. He's just going to come down here and live in Texas with me and then probably fuck me up. You won't even stick up for your own people. How can I trust you? I would never trust someone like that. Oh, it got weird in my country, so I came here to live with you. Oh, I'm sure you won't sell me out then when the time comes. I don't even know you. I'm not even from your place. And you know what I mean? You're just basically an opportunist. So, yeah. And this isn't going anywhere. This is like, you can go wherever you want, man. There's nowhere you can go in the world where this isn't going to come find you.
That's right.
So stand and fight or, don't, I guess, but you think you're going to run anywhere? All you're going to do is die tired, as they say, the sniper course.
Exactly.
You can run, you'll just die tired.
Yeah, and even if you do, like you said, like if you go to the most beautiful, safe, amazing, freedom-loving place in the world, well, it's going to be that way for 4 years until they put someone else in there. And even if they do have like a good leader or whatever, that's the tip of the iceberg, right? Like you said, it's the entire apparatus underneath is rotten to the core, and you can have like a nice little. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, do you really believe that guy? That's the whole problem. Is one person? There's just one guy at the top. Like, yeah, it's just the prime minister. So we live in a tyrannical dictatorship where he makes all the decisions and no one else has any input whatsoever. And if we just get rid of him. Right. No, there's a whole team. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these people, and their think tanks, and their donors, and their backers, and their brain trusts, and their influencers, and it's like a web of poison and cancer, and you're just like, I'll just take a multivitamin, and no, it won't matter. It's not going to do anything, and I don't think there's time to get any kind of political effort together. You never win. Like the amount of the size of the Goliath of the mainstream media and brainwashing. I mean, we've been chipping away at it for years, but to overtake that level of messaging to get at the soft heads of the general public and tell them what's actually going on in a way that they can understand and sit and digest and compare the two. You're talking 20 years to make this happen. If you started today, we don't have time for that. We're not going to have a country in 5 years, never mind 20. We're being outnumbered every day. They're flooding millions of people into this country every year. There's less of us every year. And the people that you need to vote for, there's less of you every year. And the people that are going to be voting against you, there's exponentially more of them every year. So if you couldn't win in the last election, it's going to be even harder in the next one and harder after that and harder. It's only going to get worse. You don't have time. We're going to end up like Europe. It's going to be a similar situation. Mostly everybody's disarmed. There's violent crime everywhere. The police are totally looking the other way and just worrying about people making mean Facebook posts while there's rapes and murders and crime and lawlessness and no-go zones and all that. The advantage we have though is time. We have the time to prepare for it. We can see it. We've got 5 years or 3 or 4 or 5 years before it gets to this level. It's not going to just take us by surprise. Like one minute you're, living in Germany and all of a sudden it's like fucking New Year's Eve. We and the girlfriend went downtown and there was 70 rapes and 2 killings and a car bombing, all that. Like we could see this coming a mile away. And, it's like the weather. Like, what are you going to challenge God? It is what it is. If it's going to rain, get a rain jacket, act accordingly. This is coming. There's no way around it. We're broke. We have no money. There's no way the conservatives can fix it. We owe too much money. Are they going to disband the military and end all foreign aid and drastically cut, healthcare and to pay for this? No, they're not going to do that. So how are you going to pay for any of it? You can't. The debt will continue. The inflation continues. They have to print more taxes to service the debt. There's no plan to deal with with any of this is just, you know, fun little slogan. We're going to axe the tax. We're going to spike the hike. You're not going to do anything, dude. You're going to build back better. You're rhyming now. Oh, you're going to do some rhymes, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, do some more rhymes.
That's how we say.
Yeah. Thanks, Dr. Seuss. I'm sure that'll really fill everyone's bellies here, and when it gets hungry. It's $2 a liter for gas. I remember saying this a couple of years ago, and people are like, that'll never happen, bro. Like, it's $1.85 outside right now. Probably by end of August, you'll see $2, middle of the summer, late summer, and the war hasn't even kicked off yet. If the Chinese get involved, and I'm sure they will eventually, this has never been a better opportunity for them than is coming up. I mean, you're talking crazy levels of like, the standard of living is going to plummet to the floor, and there's no way for them to fix it. And they're just lying to people. Rather than telling them the truth, they're just lying, it benefits them, not us. It doesn't benefit the Canadian public to lie to them. It does benefit the political parties, though, so that they can get voted in and get their pools and their pensions and their $250,000 a year and all of this kind of. Meanwhile, we're like, okay, when are you going to? Oh, yeah, we just made that up so we could. That's they know full well what we're headed into, but they're like, but I can save myself and my family if I get elected, and fuck these people, right? So yeah, I don't believe in that. I think that's atrocious, and I think people should start preparing for the inevitable. Because then, if you have the time, you know, if the tide's coming in and you have enough time to fill the sandbags and stack them up, the tide may not wash you out. If you do nothing, it will. But if you work hard and you haul ass and you get as many guys as possible and you go right to the end, like white knuckle that right to the last second, and you might just make it, and that's good enough for me. You know, that's all I've ever needed. Is like, do I got a chance? Good enough. Let's go. That's all I need. You know, don't tell me the odds. You know, like Han Solo. Never tell me the odds. Just, is there a chance? Okay, go. You know, go for it, because that's all. That's life. That's how it's always been for our grandfathers and their grandfathers. Like, there was no. Imagine the weakness. I'm sorry, I'm rambling here, but like the weakness of people now. Like, oh, bro, we can't. If we did that, the cops would probably come down. Oh, would the cops come down? Would they do this? Would they do that? Our families got on moldy, rickety boats that might sink, went across the Atlantic Ocean into the complete unknown with no food. Half of them died of scurvy and starvation, threw them overboard, landed in the forest, no infrastructure, nothing. There was nothing here when they landed here. The ship Hector, it was called, was where, you know, my family came from Scotland. Nothing. They said, oh, yeah, there's all farms. No, there wasn't anything. And they landed in like the fall. It's like, it's going to be winter soon, so you better hurry up. Oh, and the king needs his tithings. Like, you got to start producing. So basically, they're indentured servants and just drop. And then, the natives are killing them and all that stuff. Like, they had to go through that, and you're like eating chips. Like, police might call me racist if I did anything. Like, bro, it's like watching. Because I've done a lot of time fitness coaching and training and stuff in the military and outside, and it's you go through this yourself. I remember thinking, I know what hard work is. I've done 20 push-ups before. You know what I mean? It's like, you have no idea. You have no idea what hard even is. So you've got these people like, oh man, it's too much work. Like, you're capable of 10,000% more output than you're putting. You have no idea. Like, you're able to do way more. Like, there's so much gas in the tank. The Navy SEALs would say something like that. They say, when you think you're exhausted, like, I'm totally finished, I am done, you've got 40% left. That's actually what's true. Like I can't go another step. Actually, you still got 40% in the tank, actually. Like, mentally. And that is trtrue. Like, you can push your body beyond exhaustion. You can push through anything, to the death, if you have to. People have done it. They do it all the time. And I was fascinated. David Goggins is a guy that's what he lives for. He lives for that kind of stuff. Yeah. And it's no different, the mental suffering, the spiritual suffering, it's the same. If you can survive it, if you don't give up, if you keep going, you can win. It's when you pack it in and decide, I'm going to quit and sit on the couch and, that black pill, bro, there's nothing I can do. What do you guys even, the same people, what do you guys even do? Well, I don't have a beer gut, and I'm not sitting around whining for starters. I've done quite a bit in the last 5 to 6, 7 years, I think, to try to put my individual effort into, repairing and trying to plaster over some of the mess of this country. I don't know, I'm trying. And I think if we all did that, it would fix itself quickly. But there's just not enough people trying, not enough people doing it, and they're afraid. And I don't blame them for that. I see that, but we can't let that dictate our destiny, because if you let fear decide what you're going to do and not do, then it's already over for you.
That's right. No, you were saying that before, how you could see it coming, you prepare for it, and you have a chance. Yeah. I was just thinking of Noah, the old Bible story there, where everyone was laughing at him, calling him crazy, you thinking he was stupid, but then they all drowned. Yeah. And you spent the time building the boat.
Yeah. Yeah. You have time, so use it wisely. Could be worse. You could be in I don't know, France. No thanks.
Yeah, right.
Babies getting stabbed in strollers on the street. Like, just that's how bad it is there every day. Every day there's riots and burnt stabbings and killings, and it's just people getting yanked right out. Like, I saw one video, there was a woman just holding the door open, looking outside, see what was going on. This guy, African guy, just walked up, tried to haul her right out of a little girl, right. Like a 12-year-old. And then the mom had to like try to, like, just like that. It could have been the end of her life just because she was curious and opened the door to see what was going on. That's how dangerous it is. That'll be Toronto if it isn't already. Some parts of it. I know some women, especially, that are living there, and they're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, it's very scary. And we're gonna axe the tax. Not even guys. They're not even living in reality. They don't care. They don't care about us at all. They're willing to let our people, our women and children, be subjected to violence and fear and live in stressful conditions, not have enough to eat or know where they're gonna live. But me though, the politicians. Yeah. But me, it makes my blood boil. I hate them so much when they say, "Oh, you guys are full of hate." The only people I really pretty much. I'm the most likely to hate without knowing anything about them, just based on their outward, is that they're a politician. 95% chance I hate your guts, unless they're like one of these rare kind that's a human being that's trying to do this impossible thing. Then okay, but generally it attracts psychopaths, it attracts narcissists, it attracts people that like to gaslight, manipulate, and get things and get. They want the money, the gravitas, the power, the influence. That's what they see. They don't see that job and go, man, that's a lot of responsibility. Holy crap, that would be a lot. That'd be heavy to all these people are counting on me to stick up for them and deal. Oh man, I hope I don't make a mistake and people get hurt because of me or so. Oof, that's right. No, they don't even. That doesn't even enter their head. Car, bigger house. How much is the pension and how many years do I have? That's all that's in there, and it's disgusting.
You mentioned like all the crazy shit you see happening in Europe with the rapes, the stabbings, the kidnappings, the et cetera, et cetera. Every day, I can't even go through a social media feed for a single day without seeing at least 2 or 3 videos of like the black and trans fantasy stomping out some white kid or whatever. They're doing some sort of stupid shit. And you see, I've seen some videos now of in Europe, in Ireland, particularly in France, where some people are starting to take action now. I think people are in Canada particularly are probably afraid to take action because we see what happened to Daniel Penny in New York and such. When do you think it becomes acceptable now, socially acceptable to do something? Like, when will people stop being afraid, and when will they get off the couch to do something?
Well, the shitty thing is, and you saw there's one of the worst ones in the last while was I think it was somewhere in BC. I want to say Vancouver, but I don't know. Surrey, probably, where all the Indians are. This guy, one of these garbage, shouldn't be here, doesn't belong here, should have been summarily executed in the street by the police, in my opinion. Stabbed this Canadian man for asking him not to blow smoke in his daughter's face while they're in a lineup at Starbucks. So he just stabs him and kills him right there in the street. And people are like, what can you do? And you mentioned Daniel Penny, right? Like, they're like, this stuff's going to happen. And unfortunately, like, there's martyrs. Like, people have to be sacrificed. Like, they're going to do these things. They're going to defend themselves. And they're going to get charged. They're going to get arrested. They're going to get convicted. They're going to be like Derek Chauvin and all these people. They're going to be attacked in prison and all this. But each time this happens, it moves the needle a little bit. More people notice and more people see it. It's like, throwing rocks at a one of those tempered glass wall. Like, it's not shatterproof. Enough of these eventually will break it. Nobody wants to be everybody wants to be the brick that, goes through clean, but it's just not how it works. And in war too, like somebody's got to be first. Somebody's got to go over the hill first. Somebody's got to go in the door first, and generally doesn't work out very well for them. But it's just, that's the sacrifice we have to make collectively. And if you're in a situation where it's like, do the right thing and run away, like if we don't accept that this is, I guess this is me, I'm right here when this crazy shit's happening. I'm not going to let somebody get killed or die because I was afraid. That's just wrong. And I think we'll win eventually. Things will change. These people will be bailed out of jail. They'll be rescued and so on. But I mean, look at what poor Chris Lysak had to go through. He was just at the Coots blockade. He spent nearly 2 years in prison. He didn't know if he was ever going to get out of there. I thought he was going to die in there. And may have. People tried to sabotage us. They sabotaged the fundraiser. They sent the CRA after the organizers and audited their businesses. They dumped a bunch of info to the police. They're dealing with Antifa. They're giving like just horrendous, and these are people that pretend like they give a shit about anything. They're just, butthurt freaks. But like all of these little, stories, they stack on top of each other, and then it just basically raises the temperature in the pot to where it boils a little more. And then there's like, and then there's one too many. There's like one more thing, and then that's the one that just sets it off. That's the brick that goes right through the window because everybody's had enough now. Like Ireland's reaching that stage, like literally. If that thing happened once every 10 years, like the Daniel Penny thing, it would be like, well, you know. But if it starts becoming all the time, more and more and more, people see that the justice system is illegitimate. It's targeting people for defending themselves. It's punishing people for sticking up for themselves. It's slanted towards white guys particularly. It's letting off rapists and killers because, well, they're black or they're native and they have generational trauma, and it's not fair. I saw a rapist get let out because it would have been bad for his mental health to keep him in prison. Like this kind of stuff, right? The more that happens, the more it brings the temperature up a little bit incrementally, a little more. And what you're seeing happen now is a result of that over years and years of this happening. The yellow vests started in France, years ago. That was probably the beginning of it. The first kind of cycle. It's like starting a lawnmower. You get a pull, it doesn't go right away. It's closer. Another pull, not quite, but a little closer. Another pull, not quite, and then eventually it's going to go. And you're seeing these groups pop up everywhere. And in Canada, there's a void right now, and we're intending to at least partially or attempt to fill that with our organization. What we're going to do. Other people want to do that. I would encourage them to do that or join with us and support what we're doing. Either way, but that's happening all over the world, whether we want to or not. And that's instinct. It's instinctively, all the guys know something has to be done. Every man I talk to pretty much feels that way, that something's got to be done. Like somebody's got to do something. We got to organize and do something here. So do it then. Like there's no better. The best time to do it was yesterday, right? And today would be second best time, and tomorrow's the third best. So they're gonna become more and more popular. Especially, I think, violent crime. All of the bad things are going to keep increasing for the next foreseeable future. But as they do, the counter effect of that is people like me and you or people that maybe are like starting to notice things are like they're trying to watch hockey, but everything's on fire outside. I saw a video. A train went through town completely on fire. Like you could have been literally watching the Leafs game and like ding 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 ding. Like was that a hell train? What in the fuck is going on? Like, and then these because the temperature keeps increasing, people are less comfortable, they're more afraid, their anxiety goes up, and then what was previously considered extreme reactions now becomes a lot more understandable and interesting, and they're curious and they want to know more. That's what happened to me. That's what happened to so many other people. They start to see and notice and go, oh my God, what's happening? And then all of a sudden it becomes more legitimate and more necessary, because it aligns with what you're seeing in real life. Like I'm going the Halifax shopping center in the city here is basically stab time. Like there's somebody getting stabbed there every week. Kids, one 16-year-old is just killed there all the time. That never used to happen, but people now don't send their kids to the mall, and that's in the back of the dad's head when he's trying to watch hockey. Like, where'd they go? They're not going to that mall, are they? Like, how much more? Or their kid gets killed or something. What happened to Derek, my friend? Derek Harrison, his daughter, was over in France, and the Nice truck attack, she nearly got killed, or she was there when it happened, and he was like, what is going on? And it just shook him right out of it. Like all these little things that happen produce more people like us, and they're just going to get bigger and bigger. So I thought, well, if they're going to, if you build it, they will come. They need a tent, they need somewhere to go, so let's set up the tables and chairs and throw it open, and they're going to come on their own. I don't even need to advertise. All we have to do is exist, and they'll come through on their own, because it's going to be obvious, and that's going to happen everywhere. And then there's going to be the inevitable kind of confrontation, because it's a threat to the establishment power. They don't care that their new migrant friends are killing everybody and burning the country down. They just want to stay in their chair and eat the pig food and make the money. And they can't do that if there's a large group of organized people challenging their authority in public, in front of other people, telling the truth, saying this is what you're doing and this is what you should be doing, and we're not going to tolerate it. And it's then there's going to be a confrontation of some kind. That's going to be up to them. If they want to get violent and start trying to kill us and do whatever, that they can do that if they want, but everybody's going to see it happen, and they're going to know that we were right to oppose them in the first place. There's literally no version of this scenario where they win. It's impossible. It's just if people have the guts to do what they got to do and stand up and defend themselves. If they do that, they can't win. So that's why the campaign to keep everybody suppressed and afraid and disorganized and alone, that has to continue, and they're desperately trying to make that happen, because if that gets loose, and that's what I've been trying to get loose, is build people's confidence and kind of ferocity with the slogans. It's like, it's not enough to just be like, no, I don't think so, I don't think I want to participate. That's not enough. It has to be a very antagonistic, aggressive kind of, I'm not moving my feet, and if you want me to move, you're gonna have to make me, and I'm gonna fight you if you try.
I used to think that with, well, I didn't used to think that. I still think this in any kind of self-defense scenario, right? You could be facing some crazy odds, but the only way through it is to think that you're going to come out on top and that you're going to kill this person. And that's it. That's what's happening. Yeah. It could be a roving gang or 12 guys with machetes. Doesn't matter. I'm winning. And it could be, you could die, but that has to be in your mind.
It's as soon as you think you're going to lose, you are going to lose. It's so critical to never succumb to that. We used to do this. We just do this in the gym at work. We were training new guys, getting them to lift weights or run on a treadmill or whatever it is. And we'd like do these little tests. I'm like, okay, you're going. All right. And then start telling them, you're not going to make it. It's too heavy. You can't. And then it would break them. Like when it's like they're barely on the edge. And then other times you do the opposite. You start yelling at them, go, up, like positive things. And then they do it. And I tell them, do that to yourself at home and watch the difference. When you're on that last 2 reps or something and you're like that, there's a point where you're tired and okay, you're tired. Like the yellow light comes on, like low fuel. And you're like, okay, close enough, pack it in. That voice comes in, right? And you go, no, you just shut him right down. And then you just yell over top of it. We're going to keep going. And then you'll find the extra gear. And that's the power of your mind. And that's all that is this. All I did was change the frequency of what's being the song in my head. I changed to a different station. I went from I'm tired to I'm going to kill everything. And now I've got an extra 20 minutes out of it. I'll do it if I'm hitting the heavy bag, like just little, or sitting in a sauna, like just little things that are like, oh, I'll get in there for 20 minutes. And then 20 minutes later, I'm like, I'm going to die in here. It's so hot. And like, I'm doing 10 more, I'm doing 10 more, or I'll do another round, or I'm going to do this. So yeah, if you're in a struggle like that, it's critical. It like more than critical. It's the most important thing is that you believe that you're going to succeed. And if you believe that, it starts to become real. I mean, look, this is proof. Look at this, all of this crazy stuff we did. We made the prime minister now. He has acknowledged this as if it's a serious thing on national television, like we're on par with the Russians or the IRGC or something. Oh, those Diagolon people and the Russians, and we've got a lot of security threat. Are you kidding me? This is all just the power of the will. Like, how many times have they tried to shut me down and shut us down and put it like I just refuse. And you can will things into existence if you don't stop, if you don't give up. It's incredible what you can do. So yeah, I try to give that to people as much as possible. Is like, if you have that mindset, you're unreasonable, you the audacity to like, I am never going to stop, even put to the point where it's like, you're crazy. Why are you continuing? Because I'm crazy. That's right. And how did they row the boats as far as they did? How did they get over the mountain? How did they do anything? Because they're nuts, right? They embrace this mindset where it's like, I will die. I'm going to do this or I'm going to die. Either way, whatever comes first. And I learned that was, doing the special forces selection was one of the hardest things I ever did when I first did it, because I was not in great shape. I was in okay shape, but you need to be in good or great shape to do well. So I was by day like 5, I was like like nothing left of me, right? And I remember I fell down. We were doing this. It was the last day. It was the very last day of this, and we were basically on our feet for like 20 hours straight, with like 100 pounds on our back. Rucksack, and going from one place to another, like 5K to this objective, and then 3 to this one, and then 7 to this one, and then 5, like all night, all day long, right? And the sun was coming up in the morning, and they don't tell you when it's over. It's just going on and on. And I was toasted. I slipped off of the edge of a road, rucksack on, everything, rifle. I just ass over tea kettle, yard sailed right into a ditch. And I remember just laying there like, you're so tired. Every step is pain, and I've got blood blisters that are this thick on both of my heels. There's blood in my boots. My toenail on my left foot beside my I had to cut it off with a knife because the blister was so big. It was like curling over my toe. I couldn't fit it in my boot prop, so they're like, figure it out. So I'm a mess, and I'm laying there like, I'm done, man. I'm not gonna make it. I came close, and I'm not gonna. And these guys start yelling at me. They're like, come on, get up, let's go, whatever. So I was like, all right, man, all right. I climbed up and I thought, okay. I felt like I was going to, I'm going to pass out probably. Like I've never been this tired. And I was like, if I keep going, this is it. I'm done. I can't do any more than this. If I keep going, I'm going to get hurt. My legs are going to break, or something's going to break on me, or I'm going to pass out or whatever. And they're yelling at me, and the staff is like, are you quitting or not? And I was just like, all right, fine. I will die then. I was like, I don't think I'll die, but I was like, I was sure I'm going to pass out. I am. My legs are like, my ACL is going to tear. Like something's going to happen. Everything hurts. My foot's going to I don't know, whatever. I'm just like, good. I like the pain. Yay. So I was just going to go until that happened. And I was just waiting for it to happen, just angrily, just kind of suffering. And then, 6 hours later, it was over. And I was like, what? I'm done. Like, yeah, you made it. I'm like, oh, okay. So, you just, that's how you just have to commit to that and say, no, I'm doing this or I'm going to die. One or the other. I don't care. I'm not that's the mindset when people say like quitting isn't an option. It's not like, it literally isn't. It's just, no, I'm doing this until it's done. It's the same as like eating a bowl of cereal. Nobody eats cereal or a sandwich and thinks halfway through, I don't know if I can do this, man. I better give up. You're like, how did you eat that whole sandwich? Like, well, I ate it until it was gone, and then I went and did something else. It's the exact same idea. It's just you don't get into your own head and tell yourself how difficult it is and how hard it is. Like, this is just what you're doing right now. One foot in front of the other. You're doing this now, and then when you're finished and when you complete this task, you do the next thing and do the next thing. Oh, it's really hard. Lots of things are really hard. And they get done all the time, and you're going to do this. So go.
I like to say that nothing great was ever accomplished by being realistic.
Yeah, it's true. I'm going to fly a plane. Sure you are. And these guys built a paper mache, like that stupid plane, the Wright brothers plane. The first thing is crazy, right? Can you imagine? It's like a lawnmower attached to a paper airplane, and he's like laying on it and sails it off a cliff. Like, what are you doing? That's badass, dude. Like, that's hardcore. Stuff like that is and look what it's done for the world. Look what we've been able to achieve because of crazy people, right? Crazy people get shit done. Crazy people change the world. The sane, normal, good behaved, obedient boy has never done shit. He's just a cog in a machine, and he's just there to be, bossed around and stuff. And I never felt like that was for me.
We were talking about organizing and these movements kind of rising up. One of the things my wife and I talk about a lot is, of course, when you see in Europe and the farmers' protests and stuff, I'm not going to say it's easy to organize. It's especially on the right side of things. Dissident-minded people it's like herding cats. It's hard to organize. But there's smaller kind of borders, smaller land masses. Do you think Canada suffers from the problem of being too big to organize effectively? Do we break it down into smaller pieces? How does Canada do that?
It's hard, but it's also like your enemies have the same problems as well. It's not like it's only for us. Like, they've got to deal with all the same distance and they only have so much manpower and reach and money and such as anybody else. So it's like the scale is different, but the ratios are the same. If that makes sense. Like in England, in like Scotland, you could drive from Glasgow to London in the same day. You can't drive from Vancouver to Halifax in the same day. It's going to take you 5 days. But also it's the same amount of effort for them as well. So it's the scale is much bigger that way, but the ratio is kind of the same. Sorry, what was the other part of the question? They're
just talking about just organizing it because I'm thinking like Canada's such a huge landmass, and it's like that's why it's so hard to organize something. So you think like Alberta can organize, Ontario can organize, Nova Scotia can organize. Just trying to figure out how to kind of to work at it.
Yeah. So in a place like I got to be careful how much I say because I don't want to give anything away to them. Our enemies are watching always. But so the way the special forces works in countries where they're deployed, one of their primary things to do is to train up those forces, the local forces, wherever like if I don't know, like Iraq or something, right? The Green Berets would go in there and they'd find friendly forces and then teach them how to do this and teach them how to do that and build them up and train them and stuff so that they can do that themselves. But the way that works is because these guys aren't under a strict, arm's length hierarchy where everybody's tightly controlled. There's very little. It's very macro managed. Like these guys have a lot of leeway and lateral freedom to do what needs to be done and take the initiative if they have to. And they're selected because of that reason. They're mature guys. They're smart guys. They're tough guys, and they know what they got to do. They get a general commander's intent of like this is generally what we're trying to achieve, and they don't need the constant caretaking and babysitting of the higher authority to get it done. And that's how the Viet Cong did. And I'm not going military. I'm just using them as examples. But like small cells and small groups of guys all over can operate as a team independently of each other. There can be a group of people working in Calgary and another group of people working in Toronto for the same objectives under the same banner for the same reason, but they don't even talk to each other. You can wipe one of them out, and these guys are totally unaffected. It doesn't make any difference to them at all. You know what I mean? So. And it would have to be something decentralized, like in that way, because the country's so big. If we had a much smaller country, it would be a lot. You could just group everybody up in a great big formation and march them down the street if you wanted. But that's not going to work so much here because it's so big. So that's going to be probably, those are the kinds of things that are going to have to be. Same with the United States, any real big place. And also because of the, what's going to be done if you collectivize too many people in one spot, the government's just going to come and find a way to box you in. So
You
Don't put all your
just
eggs in one
talked
basket.
Yeah, don't. You just talked about driving across from Vancouver to Nova Scotia in 5 days. You have a tour coming up this summer, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about the tour.
Yeah, the first of its kind. I don't know. It's as exciting as it is terrifying. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just want to meet a lot of these people, really, and this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Is just kind of come out and see them and entertain them, or try to figure something out, because they've been supporting me for years. This is a great big huge country, and there's tons of people that have been in my corner for a long time, and it's the least I can do. I would like to see them face to face, because I care. I actually give a shit. I'm not gonna pretend like these politicians do, and I'll make the effort. I've spent $25,000 of my own money already getting ready to setting this stuff up, renting this and renting that and buying this, and so yeah, we're gonna leave here in the first week of July. We're gonna head to Vancouver and then back and stop at, I don't know, 20 some places in between. I think there's 7 events tentatively scheduled, where I'm going to try to transmute some version of what I do here to like a live kind of thing for, maybe 2 hours or something. And we'll have other guys, other people, our performers, musicians, maybe whoever's around them. And, Alex and Derek are going to come with us, and Aussie, Morgan's going to come, and we got another guy he's going to be driving the truck and video and filming and stuff and everything. So we'll probably try to get a little movie made out of it at the end, and we can, rip that online for $5 or something. And, and use that to fund, follow on more efforts. Like, nobody's buying Lamborghinis and houses with anything. Like, we're just, everything we take in, we turn it right around and put it back out for, like, where did all these cameras and lights come from, and these laptops and these flags and shirts. But like, this is all, it's being reinvested in the effort. So, and legal fees, being in jail is not good. So we pay for that too.
Oh, geez.
I gotta pay off my house by November, because the bank won't let me have a mortgage anymore. So I only have till November to. But yeah, we're going to stop in a bunch of places, and we'll figure something out like that. We're going to do, we'll probably have a few hours, and we'll have, some big, get-togethers, and, hopefully it'll be good. Well, we're going to stop and, do like meet and greets, kind of an informal. We'll just post up somewhere for a few hours, and people that want to come out and say hi to us and talk, whatever, we'll be there. We'll have a poster and a schedule on where we're going to be, and you can come, see us or not. It doesn't matter to us. Derek will sell his book there, and I don't know, I'll yell at people maybe. But it'll be fun, and yeah, just to network with a lot of people and talk to people and see where they're at and see how they're doing, and try to tie this up into something a little more tangible and more physical, because it's I wanted to do it for years. It was kind of the intent. I was going to do stand-up comedy originally, and I was going to make videos and do some live stream just to build some kind of a following and have a little bit of practice doing sort of like, this is, apart from doing live performances, this is the next best thing, is doing it this way. So this is the training wheels. You can only go so far with this. So we'll see what happens. I don't know I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm not going to have a script. There's not going to be written down anything. I'm just going to wing it like I always do, and we'll see. It'll either work or it won't, but I think it'll be all right. I think everybody just kind of wants to. It'll be cool to get everybody in one spot. We had that in Ottawa on a very small scale. There was maybe 50 of us, and that was really cool. That was a lot of fun. And I thought, what if we did this and like we had 300 people, and all over the country. Like, we're gonna stop and come to their town and bring everybody out, and they can all meet each other. And we got there's a whole roll of them over there. These name tags, you can throw these on, and it's like, this is your online, name, so people can you're so and so, and you're it's like, right, trade numbers, okay, like this is who you got, this is your people here, okay, like we got to stick together here, and so that'll be fun. We're looking forward to it. We're going to try to come up with a way to make it fun and not get us shut down and everything or whatever, but I can wait. I
just wait to see the counter protests for the Jeremy Mackenzie event. Yeah. An old mentor of mine said, everything rises and falls on relationships. So that sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah, and that's what my favorite thing about the community. Everybody's they're all great people, and everybody's looking out for each other and taking care. It's a very positive thing. It's a very good, needed thing, I think, and I don't have any regrets about it at all. There's been times, where you're like, I'm so sick of this, I'm so sick, especially in court. Like, if I hear the stupid word, I named it that because it was dumb. I thought that was obvious, like diagolon. If I hear that one more time, I'm gonna blow my fucking brains out. But it's it is what it is. But it's been I don't regret it.
Yeah, man. You talk about legal challenges which are ongoing. You just briefly mentioned about having to pay off your house, and there's a lot of other expenses, I'm sure. that you haven't talked about. And I know you don't like asking for help, but if someone did want to support you, where can they go to do that?
I don't know, actually. Well, we have the grift.shop is our merch website. We've just got back up recently. There's a community Telegram page there that people can subscribe to if they want to get in on that. It goes to a pool of, that we all use to get by, me and the other guys, and help people. We donate money to different legal causes and charities and stuff for people that are suffering, or try to help them out. And, yeah, I don't really have I just kind of, I don't like to ask for money. I've never asked straight, I need money, please because I feel like if that ever happens, you get one of those, you get one card where you play that, and it's like you're fighting for your life or something, or there's a real, I need a heart transplant or something crazy happens. That's the time to play that. Not because I need a new car, that's ridiculous. Even when I was in jail, I was like, I had savings, I had enough money. I was like, I can probably cover most of this. And they, came through with a lot of help with that. But I don't like to ask for it, but I like to just do the stream. I'll just do the streams. I'll do what I do. And I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's more that's an honest trade. I'm going to entertain people, and they can pay me for it if they want to. If they feel like they got anything out of that and they enjoyed that and they liked it and they want to give me money for it, then I feel like that's fair. That's that's above board. It's not a greasy kind of just give you money for the sake of it, like politicians do. Give us money for the sake of it because I want it. What am I getting out of this? Nothing. I just want your money. But yeah, I have a website. Ragingdistant.com is my website. All the stuff is there. I don't know. You could probably, there's a Bitcoin donation link there, and you could probably e-transfer something if you really wanted to. But I mean, I don't need it, I appreciate it. I'll thank you, but I mean, I'm not over here I'm so hungry, I'm okay. I'm getting by. It's okay.
Talking about a grift. Talking about a grift, there's all those petitions about stop, whatever petition they're going to sign, whether it be about the carbon tax or a gun buyback program or whatever. There's sign the petition. Well, they basically farm your information, so then the Conservative Party or whoever put the petition together can now email you and ask you for more money. Yep. Right?
It's worth a lot of money. Those databases of names and numbers and stuff, and they make.
There's a certain news network.
The CCFR has been real good for that over the years.
Yeah,
farming votes for the Conservative Party. Yeah,
I'm not going to say the name because I got reported for it today, but there you go, right there.
Oh, I will. I'm in court with him on May 8th anyway, so. 8th of May, I'm taking him. We're going to court for defamation.
Yeah, well, I really hope you.
I told him, and people are like, "Oh, you're not sued." Yeah, I am. I sued him. Yes, and I'm going to court with him on May 8th. And I tell people I'll fucking sue you. I'm not lying. I will. I'm getting Gilmore next. She's going to go next. Maybe Sean Fraser after that, because he's decided that we're a violent terrorist militia cell. Based on what, dude? What violence? Show me where it is.
Yeah.
Where? What are you talking about? Oh, you're
show me the dollar Daggle and hurt you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're just hysterical. It's a country full of effeminate, hysterical women and men pretending to be effeminate, hysterical women. Mm-hmm. That's apparently seems to be the only people that are allowed to be in charge, according to the powers that be, who like us weak and soft and easily shoved around because our leaders are bullshit. They're cowards. They're little babies. They're pussies, right? So no wonder we're getting walked all over. It's not because the Canadian people necessarily are that soft, but we've got all the people that need to be not are the people guarding the walls at night, and they're all just soft, self-interested, looking for money, and they don't care. They're not there to do the job. They just want the cash. They want the position and the legacy and everything.
Yeah, I got just the one thing I noticed being on the campaign trail. I mentioned I was with Todd there, and just kind of meeting all the political people, Todd Lowen.
Oh, right.
The Alberta MLA. Yeah. It's just you see, and even the premier now. It's just they're worried about what people will think and how that's going to affect them in the polls. They don't necessarily care about doing what's actually right. And you got a guy like in El Salvador, Bukele, who's like, I'm just going to arrest 70,000 criminals. You can't do that. The civil rights. You're like, I'm just going to fucking do it anyway.
Fuck them. Fuck them. They're gangsters. They're cartel members. That's the thing. You need sometimes you have to. Sometimes you need to do that. There's sometimes where it's like. It's like this in the army too. There's SOPs, there's rules, there's things we do, there's things we don't do. We don't do this, we do that. But sometimes they're like, don't care. This is what's going to work, and we're getting out of here, and we're going to win, and I'm going to do this because it needs to be done. Like extraordinary circumstances. Like the rules are meant for when things are orderly and make sense, and everything's running as it's supposed to. The rules don't when the rules don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
When they don't, because your country's run by a fucking cartel. What human rights? People have a right to live in a country not run by cartels, first of all.
Yeah.
So if you sit in a chair and it's like, all right, you're in command of the country's military and police, fucking crush these people. Well, that's illegal. Not anymore. I said it's not. Murder them, kill them, arrest them. I don't care. Tell them to surrender or I'm going to kill them all. And I'll starve their people to death in prison if they don't surrender. How's that? You know, what's the counter move? People are going to say wah and hold signs. I don't care. The end of the day, crime's off the street. All these scum are in jail. Now it's one of the safest countries in South America.
Yeah.
So was it the correct move? Yes, it was. Was it illegal and unconstitutional? All that? Technically, yes. But was it the wrong thing to do? No. It's not that simple. People think everything is black and white all the time, and it isn't. It really isn't. Especially when you're in situations where there's people depending on you and counting on you. They have no idea. They don't know what it's like. I have a tiny fraction of an idea of what it's like from being in the military, and I guess doing a little bit of this. But that's definitely true. Sometimes you gotta, break some eggs to make an omelet or something. if it's what you got to do, right? The trucker convoy, right? Was that a good thing? Should that have happened? Was that necessary? Yes, it was. Was it technically all above? Well, is it mischief? Technically, probably, yeah. Was it all of these other things? Potentially, right? But that doesn't mean it didn't need to happen. Like when the police don't deal with the drug dealers and pedophiles in your small town, and then the townsfolk they happen to disappear and nobody knows what happens. Is that the wrong thing to do, or is that the right? It's welcome to and that's the difference. Like that's big boy time, right? This is making decisions that are serious and with both your eyes open and accepting the consequences of what happens. And the only way you can do that is if I know this is the right thing to do, and if they burn me for it, I don't care. I would do it again.
Well, that's because you're a good man.
I try to be. I don't know if I try though.
Well, we're not. No one's perfect, and I'm not saying, but
I haven't always been. But it's like, if you're still alive, you can still turn it around. So it's like while I'm still here, I'm very committed to doing that. I'm trying to. I put a lot of effort into getting healthy the last couple of years because when I was in jail, I was like, they never should have put me in here. This is a big mistake. I was doing push-ups and hitting the weights immediately in jail. And I was like, when I get out of here, I am going to go full blown. I'm going like super, I'm going to get everybody in shape. We're going to, all this is over. We're going to get serious now. And, it's, I felt bad. I didn't like it because I was just trying to have fun and, cut loose with people and, give them something to laugh about and have something to look forward to. So we're, drinking beers and doing this stuff, but it's hurting a lot of people, and a lot of people are suffering badly in this country, especially. And it's gotten out of control, like the alcoholism, the drug use. It's just, it's insane. It's completely out of. And I'm like, I'm contributing to this, and I'm not only do I not want to continue contributing to it, I want to actively destroy it now. So I'm going to go the opposite direction, and I'm just going to ditch it all. I've been drunk in 2 years. I haven't, I smoke weed once in a while, but I'm trying to probably get rid of that too. I think eating that might be bad, and I've been thinking this lately. Like, there's, it's not nearly as destructive as alcohol, certainly, and it has a lot of therapeutic effects. But there's some things to it that has a nasty side to that as well. And just get enough sleep, drink water, take care, get healthy, right? Get healthy, because if you're not healthy, that's what all this is about. We're sick as a people. Our country is sick overall. That's so. What is the building block of a country? Is the one citizen, the one man, the one person. It's like a cell in your body. If that cell is sick, well, it's just one. If they're all sick, you're sick. Your body is now sick because so many. And they're like, "What are you guys even doing?" Well, that's one of the guys showed me a video or a picture earlier. I think it's my Misfit he goes by online. The guy's lost like 150 pounds. There's a ton of the Silver Lynx guy. He's lost, that's the difference between dying when you're 50 and living to be 80. Like there, right? Like this is what we got to do. So if we're going to fix the country, it has to start at the cellular level, at the individual. You got to look in the mirror and go, it starts with me. I have to be as strong and as good. I can't tell people to do any of this if I'm not doing it. So I got to go out and get ripped now. I got to go. I'm going to the gym 6 days a week. I'm either running or I'm hitting the bag or I'm lifting weights. And I'm trying not to eat bread. I'm just going for it, man. I'm 38 and I'm like, soon I'm going to be outside the window of being able to really physically, basically once you hit like your late 40s, it's really hard. It starts to get hard if you're not already in shape. if you're, I mean, I don't know, I'm not there yet, but I'm 38 and I know I'm not 28. Like you start to, I don't know how old you are.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's certainly once I hit about 34, 35, I'm like, I used to be faster than this, you know, it starts to slow down and I'm like, okay, it's now or never. I don't want to leave this behind as a, you know, fat, bloated, you know, hypocrite. Like, so, and it's working. It's motivating people. And, you know, Alex has gotten in on it. Derek's doing it. Everybody's doing really great. Like Morgan's getting everybody's getting really healthy and strong. And that way, now the team has become that much stronger. Each person is exponentially stronger. They've got more energy. They've got a more positive attitude. They've got a more ability to deal with stress and push harder and help. Like all of this is like a force multiplier. So the whole community becomes, even if you just had the same amount of people, it's like you have twice as many people because they're that much healthier and stronger. Now you can do even more. So there's people just don't, you know, they poo-poo it and go, oh, you guys even doing? Like, you don't even, that's like, I'm not justifying myself to a 4-year-old. Like, I'm not going to sit down and explain, all right, Mr. Poopy Pants, here's why. Like, I'm not going to justify my life story to a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old because he's not even going to understand it anyway. So I don't care. It's like you can either get in the bus or don't. I don't give a shit, but I'm not stopping to, you know, explain it to you.
My wife and I live directly across the street from our local multiplex, which has a beautiful gym in it. And so we've been there. I've been there 3 days a week. And my wife started on, I've lost, well, actually, I think the numbers on the scale have been the same, but the composition is essentially way different now. My wife just started recently. She was listening to some sort of podcast, and the guy on there said, if you had to run, like the wildfires, we're entering another wildfire season, which, by the way, 2024, so far, all Alberta wildfires have determined to be human cause.
Coming up.
So, exactly.
Coming into arson season. Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right. So they said, you know, could you pick up your kid and run for a mile if you needed to? And she's like, fuck. So she gets on the treadmill, ramps it up onto the 6 height or whatever the incline is. And they have a 35-pound sandbag there. And we have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. They both weigh about the same. And so that's her goal. Is like, I want to be able to run for a mile with a 35-pound sandbag. So that's her litmus now. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. And that's it's like, you know, they'll be like, well, when is that even ever going to happen? Probably, hopefully never. But what will definitely happen is there's going to be a time when you're gassed and you're tired and you're beat down and you don't have the energy to do or deal with whatever, and your kid might need you and you just don't have that extra juice left in the tank versus that version of you would have it in the tank. And now your child has a better life because you put the effort in. That's a huge, you know, that's one of the best reasons in the world. It's like, why? And I think about that all the time. I want my kids to be proud of me when I'm gone. I want them to be able to look back at all these videos, all the stuff I did and be like, man, my dad, he tried, you know? And I feel like that about my dad and his and so on. Like, I have these examples of these men that, you know, they put the effort in. They showed up and they, you know, they did what they could. Like, I mean, that's, when you recognize that you could try harder and there's somewhere you can push, like, do it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, man.
Oh, there's Pepsi and the Leafs are on. Like, come on, you know, come on. So, you know, I want to, you try to set a higher example for people. And it was like that in the Army too. A lot of it, that mindset was from the military. That's the best thing I took from that was that the difference between a winning mindset and a loser's mindset. And I went in there with a loser's mindset and I left with the right one. And it took 15 years of beatings and abuse and failures and disappointments and struggling and suicides and war and all of that stuff to, you know, and then you had to rearrange my brain on the other side of it to and fit back into the world with regular people that, you know, aren't, you know, don't understand how. I had to learn how to talk again to regular people. You know, you can't, you know, to some extent, I've largely just still, you know, kind of, you know, rude and, you know, whatever, but, yeah, you know what I mean? There's a transition period, but.
Yeah, they leave a conversation with you just absolutely fucking shell shocked.
Sometimes, I mean, I think it's because I forget sometimes some of the things I say or talk about. To me, is like everyday stuff, and again, Morgan's amazing because she's also very twisted and damaged, fucked up. Not fucked up, but like she's had some she's had some rough, you know, times and goes and stuff, so she gets it and she's not shocked or horrified or any, like, you know, intimidated or afraid of anything that I say. But sometimes we'll get people that are just sweet, you know, innocent people, and we'll be talking about something, they'll be like, you know, horrified, and it's like, oh shit, sorry, I forgot you were basically a child. I didn't realize. Sorry, I didn't mean to, you know, like I could be sitting here, I was sitting there eating something one day and somebody's like, oh man, look at this Ukraine video, and these people are being blown apart and I'm like, just eating, I haven't even, you know, other people, what are you showing me? Oh yeah, I forgot. So I was like, well, or on my stream, sometimes I'll get a little too. Sometimes I'll play stuff, and I'm like, I better warn people because I mean, I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. But there's probably people that'll need therapy if they watch this. So I better look away. This is really bad.
I remember back when you could watch, like, you know, in the kind of the infancy of the internet, where you could watch anything. And there's the one journalist that, like, was it ISIS back then? May have been ISIS. I don't know. Al Qaeda, whoever was like decapitated a journalist. And I don't know why I went searching for the video, but I did. And I found it. And I was like, I'm just so curious that I know this is there. I want to see it. And then I watched it, and I'm watching them like just saw through. You hear the gurgling, and I'm like, oh,
it's crazy.
I don't know what I thought I was going to watch, but I regret seeing that.
Yeah, there's like a feeling in your stomach. It's a very chilling, cold, kind of gross. It's hard to describe, but you know, most people know what I mean if they know what I mean.
Like dark butterflies almost.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I've never heard it like that before, but yeah. The Nicholas Berg was the one I watched. He was an American contractor in Iraq in 2003, and they sawed his head off with a knife about that big. And I was like 14 or something, 15 watching this before I went in the army, and I was like, oh my God, it was the most insane thing I'd ever seen. And I was like, yeah, we got to fight these people. They're insane. They're evil, you know. I was just eating it all up, you know. But yeah, not anymore. But now, you know, generation, you know, Zoomer, Zyklon, they're fucking, you know, anything is out there. They, you know, they're the most desensitized people that have ever existed.
Yeah.
So you've got the most desensitized and everyone really, even up to my parents. Like, I remember things would come on TV in the 90s when I was a kid, and my mom would audibly gasp in horror. And, you know, it's like Britney Spears is wearing a low-cut top, you know, like something like this. Now it's like there's just asses, there's porn on TV. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So we have the most desensitized people in the world to violence, to immorality, to whatever, going into a tumultuous like it's going to get violent and crazy, man. Like it's not even. People want it. A lot of it's tense. Like you hear them talk about it all the time. They're just waiting for it to get crazy so they can start smashing things. And that's, I mean,
that's frightening too, man. Like
we have to prepare for it because it's going to happen.
I think you know, I hear that too, and I think people that are quick to rush to violence or want violence or call for violence, I've never really dealt with it because it's fucking.
Yeah, they don't know what they're asking for. I would want to avoid that at all costs, especially here where I live, you know, where my children live. I don't want them to see this stuff. I don't want them. I want them to grow up like I did, safe and, you know, protected and loved, and you know, stars in their eyes and having all kinds of ideas of what they could be in the future and how it's going to go. Like that's what I want for them. I don't want them to be, you know, dodging gunfire in the street because the Calistanis are fighting with the Congolese over the fucking street corner where they sell drugs. Like I don't want that. But we'll do whatever, and we'll just keep screaming about it and organizing and pushing people to, you know, we got to stop this from happening. And then, you know, but if it does, it does, and we'll deal with it when it happens. But, you know, that way you can say, look, we tried everything. I screamed to the mountaintops for 10 years that this was going to happen if you guys didn't turn this around. I kept telling you, stop bringing these people in, stop doing what you're doing, stop doing this, stop doing that. Oh no, you're just a bigot. You blah, 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 blah. Well, I did everything I could to stop you, and then it didn't work. So my hands are clean. I sleep easy at night.
Just got this in here. I don't even know what that is.
Bunch of Jewish nonsense.
Yeah. Man, just starting on Rumble, and the one thing I don't know if you noticed this is just endless bot comments
on Rumble.
On Rumble, I get bot comments all the time. Yeah, not in the live chats, but on the clips we post. But
okay, yeah, no, I've never noticed in the live chat. Rumble, it's been deleting comments of some people on mine and banning people. And it's not me, and it's not the moderators, and we're just like, I don't know. Rumble hasn't paid me in 2 months either. So they've got another 6 days, and then my lawyer's going to send them a legal notice in their office in Toronto, and I might sue them because you can't just take money from people and not pay them. And they're like, oh, well, there's an issue. I'm like, what issue? They don't respond. It's been 2 months. I'm like, I don't know how many people can go 2 months without getting paid, but it's not many, and I'm not, you know, pumped about it. So I'd really rather not, because it's worked great for me. It's been a good platform. I've ever had minor issues or none, you know, for years, for a couple of probably over 2 years now. But you know, hope just fingers crossed they sort this out by the end of the month, and it's not a big deal. But if it's, you know, May 1st and May 2nd, and I don't have anything, I'm suing them because this is unacceptable, you know. And they know. Like I've emailed them numerous times. I know a guy that works there. He's inquired about it, so they're aware, and they're just not answering me. So I don't know if they're preparing to ban me and confiscate the account, which has happened to me on YouTube and DLive. Probably about $10,000 in total between the two of them that they've just stolen. They wait to the end of the pay cycle. So if like you get paid on the 1st, on the 31st they ban you and they take everything. So that way they get the most money out of you that they can, right? Because you're making money for them and they're going to steal it all anyway. They're gross, you know. I don't know if Rumble's going to. I hope not. Hopefully this is just a glitch and it's just a little bit of a glitch. It's not a big deal. It's a lot. It's a lot of problems are being fixed right now. I hope so.
Yeah, man. The on YouTube, obviously there's certain things you're not supposed to say, and I had my first episode actually with Donnie Spellbreaker there, and I posted it on YouTube, and it got taken down for medical misinformation because we talked about the magic medicine juice.
Yeah.
And
I call it medicine time. Medicine time.
And then
it's medicine time.
The most sinister thing about it, I thought, wasn't just the hey, we're going to take down this video because they block it so it can't be seen. It's like you have to remove it, and then what you have to do is you have to go through like a 7-question little survey where they ask you these little like high school word problems like Matthew went to over here and got this, and then Susie said that, and then it's basically like you have to like click the correct answer, and it's basically saying that the medicine time is okay. Yeah, it was like 7 questions. It was like a little training. They call it a training.
So it's a re-education campaign built right into YouTube now. I haven't seen that. Yep. I started doing, and I'm not going to bother because it's AI. I narrowed that. I thought it might have been a person for a while, but it's AI because it's within 90 seconds. So it's like they banned the channel at 8:26 a.m., 8:27 a.m., 8:26 a.m., 8:28 a.m., 8:27 p.m., 8:28 p.m., 8:26 a.m. So I'm like, okay. And it's with instantly. Brand new channel. I don't even advertise it anywhere. It's got 50 views. I didn't even, I just streamed it. Only a few of my friends know about it. And it's like gone instantly in the morning, like terminated, no email, severe guidelines. It's like, so I'm algorithmically banned from YouTube then. And I've gone through 17 different channels. And it's just like, no one in Canada has been banned more than I have from social media, from bank accounts. They won't let me have a passport. It's just.
You're banned from the free speech platform right now, right? The so-called free speech platform.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've appealed it twice, and they're like, no, instantly, within 60 seconds, 90 seconds, they said, no, you're banned for life, never come back. I got an email yesterday from Twitter saying, just so you know, you're still banned. And I was like, okay, I didn't.
Thanks.
I didn't ask. Like when you do the appeals, it's like, no, you're banned. We checked and you're banned. And I was like, I didn't ask you to check. I don't know. Okay. I mean, whoop-de-doo. I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter to me. And people think there's other guys posting my videos and clips and stuff on there, and they think it's me. It's not me. I don't care. I don't care for it. It's a time suck for me because people they just like to antagonize me, and I don't like, and I just, bite too often, and it just end up wasting time, and it's distracting me from the things I should be doing, which is not arguing with retards on the internet. That's so if you had the more discipline, post and leave, just post and leave, and walk away. Don't even check turn the notifications off, just post and walk away. And that's what I was trying to do, and they still banned me anyway. They said, "Oh, you're hate and violence." I'm like, "What violence?" 90 seconds later, "No, we hate you. You're banned forever." Okay, cool. Thanks for coming out. I don't give a shit. It's happened to a few people now. It's not just me, but people like me around the world are being quietly shown the door, and just Elon Musk like, oh, you're gonna have free speech. Like there's no dude. Come on now. You went on your big crusade. At first, it was excellent, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna come back to the platform. I think and it was pretty good. And then the October 6th happened. And then all these people started, oh, well, since we're talking about Israel, have you noticed all of this fucking horrible shit that they've been doing forever? And then Elon had to go to Auschwitz, and he had to go see the empty cradle. He had to go in the whole tour, put the hat on. He had the digital Sanhedrin on his own platform. We've got 12 rabbis wagging their finger at him for 2.5 hours in front of all these people. He's the richest man in the world, and he owns the platform, but he has to stop everything because the Jews have to re-educate him for a month. Okay, the free speech up until it offends them, and then you're no more, and thankfully, again, I feel like with Rumble, I'm always like, so far they're letting me, and it's like, listen, if you're not committing a crime, let them talk. It's rude and vulgar, and I don't like it. Turn it off. Nobody's forcing you. Well, other people are watching it. You don't get to control what people watch and don't watch. I'm sorry. If they want to watch it, they get to watch it. If they don't, they won't. That's free market capitalism, dude. If it's really popular and everybody likes it and you hate it, tough shit. You know what's really popular right now? Transgender surgeries for kids. I'm not out there burning down clinics and attacking. I'm just like, I don't like it, and I'm allowed to say that I don't like it, but that's as far as it goes. And people have to make their own decisions and make up their own minds. You know, if they want to listen to what I have to say, they're free to do that. If they want to ignore what I have to say and cut their dick off, then they can do that too. You know, that's the essence of what is supposed to be what makes our people and our countries, you know, where people want to live, because you have the freedom to think your own thoughts and do what you please with your own life, so long as it doesn't, you know, hurt anyone else. You're not committing any crimes and so on, right? But at least you can believe what you want and think what you want and say what you want at a bare minimum. That's the core fundamental foundation of what freedom is. I can think what I want. I can say what I want. Nobody has to do anything about it, or, you know, but I'm allowed to do it. I can say it and I can think it, and nobody can stop me. And if you stifle that, people they're not free to express themselves. We can't think properly. We can't filter out good ideas from bad ideas. We can't get to the core issues of anything. We can't communicate properly. We can't find out why this person has an issue, why that person has it, because they're not allowed to say. They're just quietly shoved off into a corner, into a box, and where they fester, and it gets worse and worse, and you know, it's going to be like this. But you know, don't take. I don't own I don't own Twitter. I don't own any of this. You'll have to take it up with Elon.
It's just it's just potential energy just building, right? Eventually, it's
got to go somewhere.
Yeah. Did you see did you see a speech? Did you see a speech regarding Twitter in India recently?
No.
He had
India.
Yeah, so the Twitter headquarters in India, whatever. So they were trying to get certain content removed, and I don't know what, but you could probably imagine. But he was saying to the press out there, he said, "Well,
stop letting everybody know that we eat cow poop and live in a giant dumpster."
Right?
You do, though, but you do. So
he was saying that if we don't comply, the government passed the law, so it's illegal to do what we're doing. So if we don't comply, they're going to shut us down. They're going to arrest our employees and stuff. And so while on one hand, I understand that, sure, you want to protect your people and you don't want to put them through undue harm. They have families and get that. But he said, we're going to make X the most free speech platform it can be with under the law. It was under the law. So I'm like, okay, so all you have to do is a country just has to change the law, and then now we don't have free speech anymore. So you just gave them the out, you know?
Well, and I mean, I understand what his position is from that point of view, because it's like, I'm American, I'm in America. Like, if your country, I have no right to tell your country and your people what is legal and what isn't legal. Like, that's your guys' problem. If you don't like the laws, you guys have to change them, but not me. I'm Elon. I'm a businessman. I own a company. It's like if Pepsi has made it legal in Belarus, Elon, what do you want me to do about it? You go to your leaders and get it unbanned, and then I'll sell it to you again. But this is your problem, not mine, guys. So, you know, when people are like, oh, Elon, you can't look at Canada does this. Well, that's Canadians' problems to deal with. And, you know, it's hard to do when people keep fleeing to Texas and Japan and the Philippines to do God knows what, you know.
Yeah, man. A bunch of do somethings become a bunch of do nothings. If you see the dog there.
The ideas men, they're called. I like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Lots of ideas men, always pregnant with ideas and unable to ever give birth to them. Yeah.
Lack executional ability. Yeah.
Yeah. And that story it's as old as the sun. That's always been a problem.
My friend, I appreciate you coming on tonight. And
sure, man.
Yeah, well, that's great. See if we have any comments in here for you. Yeah, I missed a Rumble rant once. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have any negative comments here, so it looks like the stream didn't necessarily get rated, so that's great. I'm sure we'll get it after the fact for sure.
There's a Henry Ford one there, too. Snow Orchard Twins. Good laughter here and loads of truth bombs. And then somebody had a Henry Ford. Who was that? Cunning Drogger. What's up, man? He says, think you can or think you can't. Either way, you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good one, too.
And, of course, there's that one. Slashes everywhere. This one here, I think it would have finished up. Fuck you, make me. Right? Cheers. Brother, appreciate you. And, you guys have a good night. You have a good night. And I guess you'll be on again tomorrow, I'm sure, for another
I guess I'm tired. I'm gonna try to get some sleep tomorrow and charge my battery. This is a lot crazy week. Monday was probably the loudest stream I've ever done, I think, and that's saying something. Yeah. I've done some heaters over the years, but if anybody's that Monday night and last night was pretty good. That was probably 15% below off the top of the other one. So I must still be coming down off my fucking nuclear meltdown of Monday. But yeah, I'm tired. Like it's crazy. It drains you mentally. Like you're exhausted. is you got to tap into your own energy to get it out there. And then once it's used up, it's like, you're tired, man. You don't like, oh, it's just talking. Do it and see how it feels. Sit here and, go ham for 3 hours and see how you feel. You're going to be tired,
I marvel at it because, I like having a guest on where I can bounce things off of and kind of engage in a conversation and a bit of a give and take. But, there's been a time or two where I haven't had a guest and I've had to kind of do it myself. And that's anxiety inducing for sure, to be able just to produce the content with your own
Isn't it wild? It's fun. I'd prefer it. I like to just sit here and it's just kind of like my own little island of, solitude or something, Superman's Fortress of Solitude or something where, is just here I'm just unloading, as I've been doing from the like, it's been this way since the beginning. So I don't like to change. People are like, oh, let me on your podcast. It's not that kind of a podcast. It's not really that kind of, I've done them sometimes. I don't mind them, but I don't like to do interviews too often. And it's not really my thing. It's a different kind of speed, but yeah, it's funny how certain people like that and find the other kind hard to do, and other people find that hard and find this easy. And I slept well. People are always saying they fall asleep to me. They're like, "Oh man, he makes me fall asleep when he's." I'm like, "It's sleepy? Why? What?" I don't know. It soothes them. They're just rageaholics. That soothes them. The anger makes that's better. They're satiated. Like they just had a turkey dinner of.
Yeah. That's right.
I've had a turkey dinner of hate. Now I can sleep fucking nice and good.
Awesome. Cheers, brother. You have a good one, eh?
Thanks, brother. Take care.